All right. Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you doing? It's Micah Pellerin, nicknamed Musa, host of the Something Like the Offseason podcast. And I'm really excited about this next episode that I have for you guys. Had the opportunity to interview my former teammate and brother, Jared Green. You might recognize that last name. His dad is a Hall of Famer, Darryl Green. He might have been a better cornerback than I was. But in this, we really talk about, man, everything that's Jared's doing, everything that he's done, what's inspiring him. Right. So for those who aren't familiar with this story, he played in the league for a second, left on his own volition, and went out to start two very successful companies. He's also in the process of writing a book. Throughout the course of this pod, I mean, you're going to see it's a little lengthy, but you recognize that there isn't a lack of quality in it. He talks a lot about relationships. He talks about not only relationships with other people, but relationships within yourself, motivation, psychology around it, entrepreneurship, technology. I mean, so many different things were covered and were covered well. I think you'll really appreciate it. I did my best to be quiet and listen. I think you'll really enjoy it. You guys know what to do. Like, follow, subscribe, all the different things. Really appreciate the traction. Really appreciate everyone tuning in and sharing, a lot of the clips and stuff like that. So have a good one. Enjoy this. God bless. And yeah, let's get to the episode. All right, here we go. JG, you already know what it is, brother. Happy to have you on the show. Going into the big four, you already know. Here we go. The first one. What was the moment in high school you knew you were destined for college? And what was the moment in college you knew you were destined for the L?
Oh, this is so good, man. Because I was talking to my dad about this the other day. So for those of you who don't know, my father's Darryl Green, Hall of Famer, NFL Top 100, played 20 years in the NFL on the Washington Redskins. And so my dad told me when I was in 9th grade, he said, hey, if you want to be serious about football, let me know. But don't approach me if you're not serious. I didn't even talk to him for a year about football because I said, man, I already know. I already know this is going to be serious. He's like, hey, if you tell me you want to train with me, then that's where we're going to go. But if you say that's what you want to do, then we're going to go on that hill. We're going to hit these 2-a-days. We're flying to Texas. We're flying to Florida. We're getting it in. So I didn't say anything my whole 9th grade year. 10th grade, in the middle of the season, when I really felt like I could play, I said, Dad, I think it's time. It's time to go to the next level. He said, okay, fine. Off season, 10th grade year, let's get it. When he took me out there, it was the combination of a father's affirmation.
Right.
Like, hey, hold on, boy. Who you've been watching something? Like you're moving like the cats that I play against. So man, you got something. So that was major for me hearing that. But then on the flip side, he was still training cats from the league.
Right.
So I'd be out there as a 10th grader running with these cats and he'd be like, man, you really can play. So going into my 11th grade year, we won the state championship. That's when I started getting all the love. Listen, bro, my dad and I had a written contract. It still exists. He still has it. I came to him. I said, Dad, this contract is for me to, and this is a beautiful story of the progress of our family. He was like, hey, I played ball. I made money. So I'm going to set aside your college tuition for you to go to school. I earned that for you. I said, give me a percentage of that college tuition money because I'm getting a full ride scholarship. so that was in the contract. I said, I'm going to ball out. You give me some of that cash when I go to school.
Right.
And man, it all came to fruition. So for me, that's when I knew, when I started communicating with my dad as a businessman, I was like a young pro.
Right.
And from there, that turned into training hard, traveling, getting it in, film study, meeting with other cats he was training. So that was big. And then here's the second wave. In college, it was my first game. I redshirted my first year at the University of Virginia, and we played against Southern California. On this team, bro, they had Taylor Mays, Joe McKnight, Mark Sanchez, one of the Matthews brothers.
Yeah.
Clay Matthews, I believe. Ray Maluga. I'm talking about just stacked. And we got dogged out. I mean, we just got our ass whooped. Like, I was like, man, this is a terrible game. But the coach is like, hey, Green, get in. And all I'm thinking is, look, we don't got nothing to play for other than pride and other than getting tape.
Yeah.
So y'all know that I can play.
Right.
They put me in the first play. I ran a corner, a corner route, and Taylor Mays, they were playing cover 2. So I was trying to get to that honey hole. Taylor Mays was clamping down, and I flattened it a little bit to get to the sideline, got the sticks, jumped up, caught it, and caught it over Taylor Mays. No cap. Like, caught it over Taylor Mays. I'm a little skinny redshirt freshman. And when I stood up, it's like, and we were home.
Right.
And even though we were probably down, like, I don't know, 21-0.
Right.
It was like when I got up, I heard the, like,
oh,
man, Jay Green. The coach is looking at, like, my dogs is dabbing me up. And I was like, man, I can play.
Right.
And that did it for me.
That's it.
Those 2 moments, that did it for me.
Taylor Mays was a weapon, wasn't he?
Dude, this dude looked like the military, the CIA, they built him. He looked like a creative player.
Which is perfect.
He didn't need to be playing football. He needed to be fighting for the country, like running out there like Wolverine.
Which is perfect. Goes into the second question. Who is your toughest competitor? Like, who is the player that you played against that you were like, man, this brother is crazy. Like, I don't know what to do with him.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, for a reason that I wouldn't have understood, that I don't think I understood at the time, when we played the Jets, in my rookie year, we played the Jets. I was on the Panthers, and everybody was talking about Revis Island. Now, he was a little older at the time, but like, everybody was talking about him all those years. Actually, finishing high school, I heard about him.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was like, man, this dude is real. So we go out there, we're warming up, and I'm like, man, he don't really look like no baller. Like, he kind of got a regular, you know what I'm saying? No shade on him, but it was like, okay, this, And I remember they played cover 2 a lot, and then out of nowhere they go man.
Right.
And the thing about him, he was the first player I ever played against that had brilliance. This dude knew everything that I was gonna do. I was like, I'm so frustrated because it's not about athleticism anymore.
Right.
Like, it has nothing to do. I can run by him. I'm faster than him. It does not matter. He knows my routes. He knows our whole entire
exactly.
He knows our whole entire scheme. Exactly. And it was like, yo, you're wasting your time if you think you're about to like shake him and move him, because he's not playing your move. He's playing the play. He understands the play. He's looking at the quarterback. He's looking at the lineup. He's looking at, y'all 2-by-1, whatever. And then he's like, oh, if y'all are, then that means you're probably going to do this based on where we are on the field.
Right.
Dude, people weren't thinking like that. Like, everybody just wanted the ball. And that actually transformed my career and my just the way I attack anything, because I learned that the smartest man wins in anything. And so, yeah, that was very, very difficult trying to compete against him. But you know what? Aside from him, I had a guy that I loved to play against, and I played against him in college and in the NFL. His name is Marcus Van Dyke.
Miami.
From Miami, bro. Oh. We're the same exact age. We played against each other every time in Miami or Virginia. And he was an athlete. He was fast. We had the same body style, like just slim running dudes. And man, I just appreciate that dude. Like, if I ever see him, I've played against him. I've pushed him. I've blocked him. I've caught a ball on him. He's broke up a pass on me. Like, it's like, yes, my man Revis is on a high level, but Marcus Van Dyke, that's one of those cool, like, you meet a cat and you play against that cat for 6 years.
That's
and you're
crazy.
Like, yo, that's really dope.
Shout out to that. Next question. All right. Let's see where you at with this one. This is going to be interesting. Who's a player that you played with or against that you felt like never really got their full shot, right? That you feel like, man, if only they were given the opportunity, they probably would have done something crazy, or if not for some sort of crazy injury, they would have been able to do something outstanding.
Man, you know what, bro? Me. me. Like, let me say this other guy first because his name did pop up first. His name is Raynard Horn.
Okay.
And he played running back at the University of Virginia when I was there.
Okay.
From Baltimore. Very fast, very strong, like had all of the measurables.
Right.
And he just never got a shot. Like they just didn't. You know, one thing that you learn, I tell the youngins all the time, like when you go to a school or if you're playing in the league and you're playing on a team, they have a type. And it's like, if you don't look that way, it doesn't matter if you're more talented. It's like if you play in the SEC and you're a wide receiver, you're either very big, like very tall and almost look like a tight end, or you're a little slim thugger, you're a little small guy, and you can break. Like there is no like in between that, you know? And so people don't understand that. So cats just go to schools of their favorite school or that someone told them to go to, but you have to have the body and the movement that team prefers. The Patriots have always had the same type of receiver.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Tall, slim guy, shorts, like short little Wes Welker, switchy,
Wes Welker, Danny Amendola, right?
It's the same thing. It's Julian the same Edelman. Thing. Yep. The Commanders always have a little small number one. This is why they don't ever win. They have a small number one guy. They got a Santana Moss playing as the number one guy. They got McMullen or whatever his name is. McLaren, number 17. Small guy, number one. If they would just make that guy the number two, but that's not what they do. They play with the number one guy, small. It goes all the way back to Gary Clark in the Super Bowls in the 80s.
Wow.
They've always had that number one guy is a little dude. So when you understand that, you understand who's going to get on the field and who's not. It doesn't matter about their talent. So Raynard Horn, really, really talented cat. I think he should have got a fair shot. If I'm a coach, I'm learning this as a CEO and as a CRO and all the different companies I'm working with. You got to find the space for certain players to just play, to just be themselves, you know? So shame on coaches for having talent and not knowing how to leverage that talent inside of the system that they have.
Right.
You know what I mean? I feel like that's where the next level is. The Greg Popoviches who are like, yo, I'm going to make it work because you matter to the team. Yeah, you got to adjust the system. And exactly. So that's it. But on me, like, you know, I had a unique journey because when I went to UVA, I was redshirted. We had a big time wide receiver in Kevin Ogletree, and he just was that dude.
He was in Dallas.
KO.
Was he in Dallas when you and I were there at the same time?
He was in Dallas while you were there. I think you had signed and he was there, and then he left, and I took his number. I got 85.
Right. Okay,
yeah. And that was big, bro. Like man, a baller.
He was nasty.
A real baller. In fact, I could put him in this category too of someone who, like, why did this dude have a breakout night against New York? 3 touchdowns, I want to say.
Ignorant.
Crazy. And that was the same night that Odell on the other side of the ball had the crazy catch. That was the same night.
I was on the field.
And, that's what I'm saying. Like, you were there. And I was thinking, KO about to do work in Dallas for the next 5 years. Man, 2 years later, he ain't even there. Like, I just don't even understand that. So those are the things. But then you get into contracts. Okay, we got Dez, we got Miles. We're paying them too much. We got these other cats. You know what I mean? So it was hard. But, you know, for me, I always, this is a gift and a curse for me. I played in the NFL. I played the game of football for leverage. I purposely went to the University of Virginia because in my neck of the woods, that is a prestigious college. And there's a lot of opportunities after football in that. Okay,
outstanding school.
You know what I'm saying? And then I go to the Panthers as an undrafted free agent, make the team. I'm there for a year, but then I'm unrestricted. I can go anywhere afterwards. And I go, I'm Darryl Green's son, Washington Redskins legend. What if I go to the Dallas Cowboys? Like, what would that be? Like, okay, I wear the star for life. Now I'm cool with Michael. You know, I'd already known Michael Irvin. Deion Sanders. Now I'm going into that fold. Like, let's make a business strategy. Let me put this in my mind. I knew, but I didn't even know the power of it. I'm like, I would have said it like this in hindsight. Yo, this is going to be great for my LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is going to really set me up for more stuff in the future. So, you know, that was the way I approached the game. The problem is the coaches that knew that, like that felt that, they didn't give me a shot because it's like, man, this dude is he's different.
Right.
He's an intellectual.
Yeah.
He's staying after, he's doing stuff in the community. Like, this guy really isn't as passionate about the game as he is about all the things that surround the game. But just like I said in business, you find that person who's intrinsically motivated by whatever it is that motivates them, and they put the output, they perform, and you just let them do what they do. Unfortunately, I didn't have, the coaches that we had in Dallas, like they didn't have time for that. Now, I'm gonna get off this tangent, but I understand now, them dudes was on the hot seat. So on the hot seat, you can't necessarily be like taking chances.
Yep.
And risk. 100%. So I get it. It's all love, but I feel like if I would have, and I left the game on my own merit, so I'm grateful for that. Remember at the time we were playing, Concussion, the movie was coming out, like bro, lockouts. It was so much stuff going around the game that makes a dude think about life, and like maybe I should. So it's all that. But the Cats. This is why I have no regrets, and I have no weird feelings about my football career, let alone my NFL career. Because every Cat that watched me play, or I was in the same locker room with, or played against me and covered me one-on-one, they know I was like that.
I'll attest. It's on the internet. JG Pellerin, you got me.
Hey,
I knew. I was trying to make the team. I knew when I saw you coming up there, man, I'm tired, man. My hamstrings. Look. Anything past 12 yards, I don't want that on tape. Now with 85. Now with 85.
And that's how we met. Like, it was so cool because we was going in, and then we went in for the film session. Everybody else was gone. You was in the room, I was in the room, and then it was like, yo, who's it? Oh, okay. And then you was like, yo, I'm actually watching your film. I was like, what? He's like, bro, and you was rewinding it. I think I was doing some double moves, taking it to the top.
Oh yeah.
And you was like, yo,
straight
this is crazy. And then it was like the respect, because I was like, man, you got good feet too. And then, knowing that I did grad school at Southern and Baton Rouge. So it was just cool how it all came about. But like, what I like hang my hat on is like, when I see you, you're like, yeah, that dude could play.
100%.
I was at an event, NFLPA event, like 2 years ago, saw Cam Newton. He was like, of all the cats that could run up under the ball I throw, you were that dude.
Come on.
Like, I'm like, man, to hear cats say that, it's just really refreshing. Hear coaches say that. So, man, I can sleep at night. I ain't worried about it.
It's about,
what I mean?
And that's anything, man. It's about your respect. And it's about the respect you have from your peers. Because if you don't have that, the other stuff doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So on that wave, that brings us to number 4. What is the nicest thing a coach has ever done for you?
I think that actually this is going to be easy, and this cat is taking a lot of flack over the last few weeks in the news, last few years. Ron Rivera, the head coach at the time of the Carolina Panthers. For me, I tell people all the time, when I got into the NFL, it wasn't I'm in the NFL. It was, this is my first job out of college. So this is a great opportunity. This is my executive. I work for Jerry Richardson. He's the CEO. I work for Ron Rivera, who is my chief supervisor.
Right.
And then I've got Fred Graves and Ricky Prohl, who are my direct, I'm directly reporting to them.
Right.
And so I attacked it that way. My dad, this is the perks of having a father who played. He's like, hey, this is a business. Like, you're going to go work for these executives. You're going to go perform, and you're going to have performance reviews, and you're going to have to do all the things necessary to make the team.
Right.
And he said, you have one goal. I said, what's the goal, Dad? He said, the goal is the first Tuesday in September that the coach walks in and goes, all right, everybody, let's get ready for week 1. He said, you need to be in the room and here. Let's get ready for week 1. And so I'm grateful that that's what happened. So Ron Rivera played a special role in that. 2 things he did. Number 1, when I got there, he invited me and like a few other like hand-selected cats to come to dinner at his house. His wife cooked. We were at his house. We actually did a little pool party.
Nice.
Luke Kuechly, Joe Adams, Lamont Bryant, me, some other cats. Like, we really got to hang with him. And it was a release for me because I got to see another side of him early. So this is during like OTAs. So we
Right.
haven't even gotten to training camp. And so I needed to see this side of him when the going got tough in training camp, and
Right.
when you learning your way, making mistakes, whatever. I was able to ground myself by being like, hey, that dude really appreciates you as a human being. So like, he might be being hard on you right now, but that's because he really cares.
Right.
So that was the first thing that he did. The second thing was, fast guys, we hurt our hamstrings and our groins. It just is what it is. That's what we do. And so one day I came to practice and my groin was just jacked up. Like, man, because when you try to make the team, you running. You hey, track meet. You track meet.
Running.
Bro, I was running so hard every day. At night, I'm cold plunging. I'm Normatec. I'm everything. I'm just getting myself right, bro. I'm getting it. And I just, sometimes when you're trying to make the team, your body can't keep up with the output. And so, man, I was hurting, and he saw me, which is like, man, how did you recognize me? It's 100 dudes out here. He saw me, goes, Jared, he's like, that groin ain't feeling right, is it? I said, no. He said, listen, I know you're trying to make this team. He said, but you've shown me enough that I don't need you to practice today or tomorrow. Take these 2 days off. I'm a undrafted rookie taking 2 days off during this was in training camp. This is fast forward to training camp. Taking 2 days off training camp. Now, I don't want to take 2 days off. I don't want to, they say don't be in the training room, but he was like, listen, and I remember he grabbed me close. He's like, hey, Jared, listen, I know you can play. He's like, and you've been running. He said, take these 2 days off. He said, today, you just don't need to go to practice. You're going to beat in practice, but you don't need to be on the field. And tomorrow we're going to be shorts anyway. We're doing more walkthrough. So you good. Just coast it out. And I was like, wow. And remember, here's another thing, because I'm really, man, as you ask these questions, these are good questions, because some of this stuff you don't even think about. You don't even talk about, for years. You forget about it. I realize now, what was going on in my life, and the pressure, and trying to prove to myself and everything. And to hear somebody say that at that very time, it was like, whoa, because remember, I wasn't the number one guy in Virginia. I wasn't the number one guy. Even at Southern, I was number two. I balled out, but I was number two. So, when you're in high school or you're in college and there's that dude that gets all the, I wasn't that dude. Yeah. So it was my first time ever. And how about this is in the league. It's in the league. Your first time ever getting preferential treatment because someone sees value in you. That spoke like a lot of life and love to me. And then it made me want to play for him even more.
Heck yeah. So you're done playing ball. You leave on your own volition. One of the things that, I recognized in you earlier, when we first met, was just the level of professionalism I think we both shared and demonstrated. Right?
Yeah,
I think it was a great analogy earlier how you described playing for the Panthers, right? Like who was the CEO, et cetera, and down the org. You left, and once again, I know the phone was ringing.
Oh yeah.
You didn't pick it up.
That was tough.
We fast forward, let's bury the lead, everybody. He's successful. He's doing great. He's humble. He's be too humble to say it. He's doing great.
Man, it's a good time.
Talk to me about the confidence you had to start your own thing.
Yeah.
How you built that, as you started to found these different companies. Because I think the thing that I want you to really speak on is, just the confidence and the awareness to do something like that, having never done it before, right?
Yeah.
And you, at that time, you had the wife, kids. Talk to me about
where this is so good. And I'd be dead wrong to not bring up the origin. Remember, my dad was playing in DC, Washington, DC for 20 years.
Right.
And with that comes White House visits, Kennedy Center, major NAACP awards and community service and Urban League and Microsoft and all of the stuff that he was involved in. And he would take me. So I'm just this little boy. I'm talking about starting at 6 years old, right? Just pulling up. I got my little suit on. He's like, hey man, we're going in here. He's like, you got 2 things that I need from you. 2 things. He's coaching me in the car. He said, number 1, anytime there's a group of people having some sort of conversation. He said, I need you to join the conversation. That means you're going to have something to say. So he was like, get your something to say ready right now while we're walking in, so that when they're in the conversation and then they look to you, you can bring up whatever that current event is or whatever that thing that you're passionate about. But you need to be able to jump in. So that was like big for me, because I was like, man, I'm jumping into adult conversations, which most of my friends, their parents were like, stay out of grown folks' business. My dad was like, hey, get in this business.
Right.
So that was major. The second thing was, he said, hey, make sure that you're learning. Like you're going in here and you're extracting more information. So all I would do was take conversation A at the White House and then bring it to conversation B at the Kennedy Center, then to conversation C. So I'm pulling all these conversations. So as a kid, they're like so impressed, because I'm like, yeah, I was looking at, whatever I was talking about, like how they're gonna revamp Southeast DC, and it's really unique. And I'm 12. It's like, and they're like, wow, like, how'd you know about all this? Oh yeah, my dad, we go on Good Hope Road and we travel over here, and we've adopted these 2 schools, and it's really about passion. And I'm young.
Right.
So that teed me up. Is like, my dad knew, I don't know what he's gonna do. I don't even know if he's gonna play football, but he's gonna know how to talk.
Right.
And so I think 90% of business is communication. And what's packed in that communication is knowledge and confidence, and knowledge breeds confidence. So for me, when I'm in these conversations, I have knowledge.
Right.
So the knowledge makes me more confident about the conversation, which then the conversation leads to an actual connection that can be fruitful. So fast forward, mind you, while we're in Dallas, we go to the party at the Lexus Club preseason. They're giving us the Dre Beats headphones and all that stuff. It's all us, all the players. But then I'm seeing all these other cats with these suits on and their sponsors. Man, I was like, I've been here before. I'm about to walk over there and start talking to them cats.
Come on.
Man, I got like 17 cards, and I had people's emails, and I'm not, and now I'm reading and I'm learning different things. So I remember meeting like former players, investors.
Right.
I mean, just all sorts of people at night. And so, that's where I was at that moment. So when you give me more time in my day and now I'm not playing anymore, oh man, I'm going to every mixer. I'm going to every event.
Come on.
And my goal was, no shade on the NFLPA or the trust or anybody like that. My goal was to be in spaces where we're not.
Right.
So that I can move in a whole different way. Because when you go to the PA stuff, it's like, okay, we're all here to receive.
Right.
We're not here to give. And for me, I wanted to be in spaces where I could give.
Yeah.
People ask me like, hey, what are you passionate about? Oh, I'm passionate about organizational design, putting the right people in the right seats on the right bus, and to help people find their intrinsic motivation and their purpose so that they can see alignment between their personal life and their professional life, and then build amazing teams. Like, I'm talking like that.
Right.
So when it's time to like make that connection, they're like, man, that dude was so special. Like, he was talking about intrinsic motivation and like self-determination theory, and he's quoting books. He's talking about, James Clear. He's talking about, this. And so that separated me.
Right.
And you it's just like sports. This is why I love sports so much. In sports, you come to camp. What do you want? You want to have the differentiator.
Right.
That dude is faster than everybody. That dude is stronger than everybody. That dude got sure hands, or that guy, whatever. So I want to be that in the mix, in the business mix.
Right.
It's like, whoa, that dude is a former player, so he understands teams, but he also is like a little psychologist. Like he's like a psychologist junior. And so when they leave, they're thinking, man, if I have that problem, I'm gonna call that guy, because that guy, I like his perspective. I like how he approaches whatever. So the confidence and the knowledge has been everything for me.
Right.
And when I stopped playing ball, the hunger from making the hunger that we would have when trying to make a team was the hunger that I had when trying to build a business and then build multiple.
But why not jump out and work for someone, for like a Fortune 1 out the gate?
So there were 2 things that I was up against. One was the stats.
Yes.
The stats were, if you stop playing football, you're going to laugh at this. You either work at a gym and train kids, You either are a commentator,
Right.
you are you'll get into coaching.
Yeah.
You're coaching the league or coaching college, coaching high school,
Yeah.
or you go and try to get a job at the PA, or you try to get a job,
Right.
somewhere. So everybody was doing the same thing. No knock on that. You got to find a way to move. You
Yeah.
got to get
You got to
active.
do
And don't
something.
sit still. When you stop playing football, do not sit still.
No matter what.
Worst thing you can do. No matter what.
No matter
so
what.
I don't care if you riding on the back of a trash truck. Like, do something, move. So I knew that I was up against that.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing was I felt that my wiring, the
Mm-hmm.
way that I'm wired, I could not be a real true employee. The NFL has two types of players. You have innovators / entrepreneurs, and then you have more role players, company type cats. No knock on either one of them. The company cats last longer.
Right. We know those guys.
We know those guys. We know those guys. They've been on the same. I remember this dude named Colin Jones. He was special teams like for 12 years.
Come on.
like
Jeff
he
Heath,
going on.
a
He ain't
monster.
going nowhere.
Yeah.
He ain't going nowhere,
Come on.
bro. So I get that. But then there were us who just thought outside the box. We probably gave our coaches hell. Like, it was just, we were just different type cats. And I knew that you have the, so let me get into my psychology of it. So when you talk about self-determination theory, it's just the theory that you can't motivate people. People motivate themselves. So as a leader, you have to create space for me to motivate me, not to motivate me. So there were cats that needed the rah-rah. They needed Eric Thomas to come in the locker room and yell. Like, they needed that.
Right.
We didn't need that. We were like, yo, you can't motivate me. Like, I'm motivated on a whole nother plane. And so,
right.
So for me, it was like, okay, self-determination theory, we're talking about purpose, relatedness, and autonomy. What is the purpose? Why am I here? What am I trying to accomplish? Okay. What is the relatedness? What's my relationship to the role, to the job that I'm doing? And then autonomy. Do I have the psychological safety and the space to make mistakes, to overcome, to try different things, to dream a little bit? And in football, you have that because when they might be on you, micromanaging you all week, but when the game starts and you're on that field, they can't micromanage you. Is snap, the ball is snapped, and you do what you do.
Right.
So I couldn't find that in business, so I had to create it for myself. I said, you know what? I'm gonna create a company where I'm actually not a part of a company. I'm serving multiple companies, and that really unlocked something in me. Like, okay, I'm gonna go over here and coach these people. I'm gonna go over here and design workshops. I'm gonna go over here and create a learning management platform. I'm going to do all of these different things for all of these different organizations. And that actually made me it kept me more agile. I had to solve problems across numerous functions. I had to coach some of the most complex problems that I had no clue how to solve those problems. So I had to spend time and really get into, but I was also the boss. So like I had the autonomy to move around and do what I do. So
I love that.
So yeah, that was big for me.
I love that answer. One of the things I note about you, people look on your LinkedIn, people see you talk about it a lot. Corporate athlete.
Oh man, yeah.
Corporate athlete. I love that. Talk to me about that. Where did that come from? Because I feel like it ties into all that you're doing. We're talking about it, right? It's a natural segue. Talk to me about corporate athlete.
Man, corporate athletes is a mindset. And I think, when you think about sports, you think about Nike, like what was the brand that like backed the player? Jumpman, Tiger Woods brand, Nike umbrella. And so with the corporate space, what I've seen over the last, I don't know how long we've been in this thing, like 13, 14 years, whatever. It's like, I keep seeing the same guys looking at sports as like their hobby or the thing that they love to do, and then they golf and whatever. But then when it's go time, they're jumping on planes, whatever. I'm just talking like executives and salespeople and all these different people. So I was like, yo, the joke's on them. They're watching the games and saying, man, I could never do that. But they're not seeing themselves as athletes.
Right.
So I say, you know what? Why don't we transition? Let's meet in the middle. The athletes, the former athletes, we're jumping in corporate.
Right.
But the corporate cats are the new athletes. Like they're making big checks. You go into tech. Like I remember when I was on the Raiders, we were when I was on the Raiders, they were like, yo, during the offseason, you have the freedom to go to Silicon Valley. We got some programs there.
Right.
Man, I remember I was making probably maybe $515 base salary. And I met a cat that had like a quick startup, like just a little something. And my man like had raised 17 million in like in the seed round. And I was like, you made 17 million. And he's like, yeah, man, blah, blah.
That's that Wolf of Wall Street move. Show me the check stub right now. I'll leave my job right now. I swear.
Right now, bro. And I was like, what am I doing? Like y'all over here playing with computers and I'm over here taking risks with my brain, my brain, my back, my shoulders, my knees. And y'all out here like in a real cozy kind of vibe,
wearing sandals.
type.
Come on.
Yeah, like wearing sandals and a V-neck, like with the deep V-neck, the deep cut, and y'all just making money. And I said, man, I got to learn something. And something hit me when I was in Cali and I was like, yeah, it's time.
Right.
I remember being in, hey, forgive me, Raiders organization, but I remember being in special teams meeting and I was writing a business plan. I was I'm in the back with my notepad up and I'm like, oh, okay, I could do this. Okay, I could do that. What if I coach these people? Like, so my mind was already spinning because I had the exposure. So corporate athletes is about bridging the gap between the corporate athletes, the cats in corporate that are making plays, and then the former athletes that are trying to figure out that transition. Because unfortunately, over the last 100 years, we've had the worst exit from of any sport, football. We transition out, and most of us struggle with mental health. We struggle with resources. We struggle with family. We struggle with all these different things, and there's not a good segue. So what happens if I got 100 of some of the most respected football players I've ever played with or seen or met, and then 100 of some amazing hiring managers and executives and all these people, and I put them in a room, what's going to happen? We're going to run, we're going to train, then we're going to go into the whiteboard, like we're going to go to the next level. So I'm creating a network. And I don't even have a business plan yet. Like this is all just organic. I got a dope logo. So I'm going to drop merch. I'm dropping merch this spring.
Love it.
Where cats just are rocking it, but it's more of a lifestyle. Like, yo, I'm a corporate athlete. Everybody that wears it is a corporate athlete.
I love it.
Whether you came from the field or the court or whatever, or you came from corporate, we're meeting in the middle in this space because we know the corporate people are now saying, man, I got to attack this more like an athlete.
Exactly.
Then the athletes are saying, man, I got to attack this more like so that's, for me, man, I hit up execs all the time. Hey, man, we're running 5 miles a day. Where you at? What take a picture, send it to me. What you doing? Or, hey, I'm PRing the night. Like I'm doing 2-a-days. First 22 days of 2024, we're doing 2-a-day.
Let's do it.
Like I'm talking that talk that they love, like the corporate cats love that. And it's opening the door for athletes to be normalized in the corporate space. So yeah, I'm very passionate about that, as you can tell.
I already know.
So the merch is going to drop. I've got a concept of a learning management system that'll be powered by AI, where people can get language models that'll teach them about, and I might be going ahead, but like language models about, it could be a level 1, which is like resume building, job interviewing. We got some crazy technology that we've built. This is through Engage, which we'll get into, but we're leveraging those tools for corporate athletes so people can be game ready.
I love it.
On both sides.
I love
it. It's really good.
You man, like you said, man, we get into it. One of the things that's super, super evident, right, just in talking to you, is that you're passionate about helping people, right?
Yeah.
You're passionate about networking, engaging, supporting people how they need to be supported, and finding curated ways to do that, like that are supported by, the education that you've gone under to kind of like understand how best to inform these people as far as like best practices, et cetera, et cetera. Engage is just that. I'm curious if you can just give us a one-liner about Engage, like a quick elevator about Engage. And then, like I said, I'm hearing the thirst for knowledge. Obviously, I'm in tech. I'm hearing AI. Talk to me first about Engage, how you started there, and then we'll go into the technology that's supporting it now.
Okay, this is good. So the caveat is there's Engage 365, which is my my legacy company.
Mm-hmm.
And Engage 365 is simply an organization that's designed to engage entry-level employees to mid-level management every day. It's so simple, because the most engaged players make the greatest plays. When you think about football, this is the origin of Engage 365. You think about football, we had masseuses, we had chefs, we had nutritionists, we had special teams coaches, we had some cats had mental health coaches, life coaches. You got all this engagement. So when you're ready to play, you play at a high level because of what you've been engaged in, the best facilities and all those things. So what I realized was there's a discrepancy regarding engagement in the workforce. So you own a Chick-fil-A, and you have 100 employees, and those 100 employees are hitting it hard in the paint with these crazy drive-throughs and they're disgruntled guests and new employees being hired on a consistent basis. So they're having to be agile, fast, aggressive, competitive, all those things. And yet they don't have a whirlpool. They don't have a nutritionist. They don't have so they don't know how to tap into the humanity of their job. And that's why they don't last. So I said, okay, let me see how I can bring the athletic preparation and experience and that level of engagement to an entry-level employee, because I learned turnover is costing you 6 figures, sometimes 7. So we need to figure this out. And then disengagement can cost you even more. Then you got quiet quitting. You got all these different things that are associated with that. So the most engaged employees make the greatest plays, and then that's how your business thrives. That's how Engage 365 started.
Right.
Now, as you know, this has been the hardest challenge with anybody that I've ever met that's ever had a company that was based on their skill, their talent, their personality. I didn't know how to scale. So I started out working with 4 Chick-fil-A's. Next thing you know, I spoke at their regional conference. Now it's 62. And now it's 62 Chick-fil-A's from New York to, down south, and then over to Huntsville, Alabama, and then Phoenix, Arizona, and Little Rock, Arkansas.
Right.
So now I'm traveling. I'm on planes all the time. And I'm like frustrated because I'm like, I know that, yes, it's valuable when I'm in the room, but I can't be there on Monday. I used to say that all the time. What happens on Monday? So like you have this great presentation with me on Saturday or Friday or whatever. And then Monday comes, and then you're right back to square one.
Right.
And so what could I do to help you? Well, we launched the Engage Hub. So the Engage Hub was this one-stop shop with all the content, book readings, but then you could also have community. So it's like a Facebook, like a corporate Facebook. But what made it special was we were developing it custom for each organization.
Exactly.
So you were inside your own world. You didn't have to worry about, someone from another company reaching out to you. Like, no, you're just in your little world. And so we ran with that for a while. The pandemic forced me to get into that space.
Right.
And so we ran with it for a while. And then I met a gentleman named Calvin G, who is now, I've just made him CEO of Engage. So Engage Work was an offshoot from Engage 365, and Engage Work came about because Calvin, who is a tech wizard, one of the greatest developers ever, but more of an innovator, more of this dude beat out Uber in another country. And there's a foreign country that he beat out because he developed an app that was better. And he's like that. He's like that.
Of course.
Building robots in high school. So like this dude's different. And so he was like, man, I think that what the problem is, in addition to the disengagement, is we're going up against people who are working in organizations with these,
right,
and with TikTok and all this different technology that's advancing on a consistent basis, and we still want them to use the basic LMS tools that are watch this video, fill out this questionnaire. He said,
it's not engaged.
The world has changed.
Right.
So man, he was like, let's create avatars that grow with you. Let's create language models where you can have on the job training, instant access to information right now. Let's download all of the information on a safe, server, and let that information shoot into a learning management system that's more dynamic, shoot into a GPT, shoot into VR. Like, let's just transform the company. And so we started last year, and we started building out some stuff. and piloting some stuff for some potential clients. And people started going, whoa, can you do this? And then we became more bespoke, like, okay, yeah, we can do that, but this is how we're going to build it. But it's all coming together as one. So now I've gone from just employee engagement to operations, and then like estimating numbers and saving companies $1,000 now or millions of dollars. Now here's the thing, and this is my differentiator. If you want to talk about an elevator pitch,
come on.
For me, there's a morality, there's a consciousness that comes with artificial intelligence,
ethics,
and because and this is why I'm grateful for my life and the exact way that it went down, because I started with Engage 365 consulting and coaching. If I didn't, then I probably wouldn't care as much about the people as we're doing the technology. So our goal is not to replace people with technology, but to supercharge you with technology.
Come on.
I tell our clients all the time, it's like the wristband. When I was in the game, I can't talk to my coach, but I got the wristband on my arm. So it's going to make me, I can make a play right now and know the play right now.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, in the old days, it's like, coach, what we got? Let me run back to the sideline, So for me, that's what we're doing with employees. You're not being replaced. You're being supercharged. We call you a cyborg. We're putting you, because I just watched Creator. That movie's hard. That movie's hard. So I'm learning that in this new wave, in this new era, this is no different than a bionic arm.
Right.
Like it's just an extension. Our phone is an extension of us.
You're always looking for
it. We're always looking for it. What happens when you no longer need this? And now it's going to be more of a language model, a conversational AI, where it's just happening all throughout the day. What happens when you're able to teach the technology to respond in the way that you respond to emails?
Exactly.
Now you don't have to be bogged down.
Beautiful.
And here's the elevator pitch. So that was the tee up. That was the walk in the lobby to the elevator. The thing is, people are not optimizing their talent. So the best way for me to help you optimize your talent is to get rid of the things that you don't need to do. You and I did not tape our own legs or our own ankles. We didn't massage our own backs. we didn't do any of those things. Someone else did it for us. So why? So we could focus on the game.
Exactly.
So now employee engagement goes up because he or she is focusing solely on their passion and their talent, opposed to, I got to do these long reports. No. Use the GPT. The report will be done in 5 minutes.
Come on.
That's where we're going.
I love it. I love it. And here's the thing. I think a lot of people don't know about you. I mean, we're the same age, but we're living different lives. You're married. How many kids do you have now?
Married with 4 kids, 11 years. 11 years married.
Beautifully married. Wife's amazing. You started these companies. You're traveling all around. You're successful at what you're doing. What does your personal recovery, what does your personal peace, what does your personal time look like? I think for a lot of former athletes, one of the things that they struggle with is our lives are so, programmatic, because we know, hey, wake up, eat, workout, practice, film, et cetera, et cetera. You're in a space where you've created an infrastructure across your different companies, and that's a lot of work. I don't, anybody who's ever started, anybody who's in business in general, understand what it takes to be successful, especially when you have a pride in performance, especially when you're, constantly having to innovate, right? You were hearing just the iterations in Engage as it is, right? So constantly innovating to make it better. 4 children. I don't have one, right? You know what I mean? But I used to have dogs. I know it's more intensive than that. A wife, right? You just moved. You're in Texas now. Talk to me about your ability to understand what it means for Jared to be the best version of himself from post-ball to where you are now.
The number one thing in life when you talk about relationships, because whether it's my children, whether it's my wife, whether it's anybody that I'm associated with, that I'm connected to, it always comes down to agreement. So the question is, what are you agreeing to in this relationship? And so I made it I was very intentional about telling my wife, listen, this is who I am. When I'm moving and grooving, that's the best version of me. That's what you want. And here's the deal. We grew up in the era we grew up in like the transitional period between like what's the status quo, what's the norm of the American household, and then now we're in this new age where like there's a lot of different
all the
things,
different
you
stuff.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I was eating sushi last night, and this girl came in there and had a light on her phone, and she was recording all this stuff. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh yeah, this is how she gets her money.
Yeah.
Like she's working.
Yeah.
But she ain't gonna do nothing throughout the week. Like she gonna
Right.
record that. She's gonna do a review. It's gonna get 5 million views, and she's
Yeah.
gonna put that on TikTok. Like it's a
Exactly.
different era. Like
Right.
nobody would do that 10 years ago.
No.
You know. So I say that to say, I told my father, my dad's my best friend. I told my dad, and then I told my wife. I said, listen, most of my friends, most of y'all's friends, or to my wife, most of your girls' husbands and boyfriends, they are at work all throughout the day, 9 to 5, sometimes later, depending on what they do.
Right.
They only get that early morning with the kids, and then the late evening, and then they look ahead to weekends, you know, for their time of to build relational equity. Well, look at me. I might go on a 5-city stretch for 2 weeks, let's say 10 days. I go because I try not to go away for longer than 10 days. And that's like when you're really grinding.
Right.
But everything's got to be lining up, right? So I go on that stretch, right? When I come home, I ain't going to work at 9. You're going to see me for 30 days or 20 days straight. Now, to the world, they're seeing that I was at this event and the LinkedIn and this and that, but they don't realize what I'm doing throughout the week. You know, it's mostly calls. It's mostly internal stuff that we're doing with the team. And I'm moving like an athlete. We got team meeting. And then after that, hey, lunch on own. You know, like figure yourself out. Like, hey, we just checked into the hotel. We got time. Meetings are at 8:00. Yeah. So we got here at 2:00. Figure yourself out. Go see some movie. So for me, it's all about agreement. What is our norm? I don't care what people say. People gonna come over. Jared is always gone. Oh man, how do you deal with the kids and all this stuff? Nah, let's tell the truth. Your dude gone more than I am. Like it's just it doesn't feel like because he's in the same city, you know. Ooh. So we've rearranged the way that we look at this, right? Like for me, I take flights like other people take car rides. I don't ride in traffic. Right. Why would I need to ride in traffic? I don't. My office is in the house. I don't have to, and I'm a WeWork member, so if I want to go somewhere, I can go. But I don't have to be at the office at a specific time. Nobody's telling me when to be wherever I need to be. So because of that, okay, I know that I'm not taking any meetings till 10:00. So I have phenomenal mornings with my wife and with my kids. Okay, I don't do a lot of meetings on Fridays. I really never do meetings on Fridays. Fridays is for creativity. It's for closing out the week. It's for getting inspired about something for next week. So I created that. You know, Monday's meeting Monday. I'm gonna load it up. Tuesday we're gonna have a couple of things that spill over. And then we're going to do business development Wednesday. And then Thursday, we're going to try to close some stuff. You know, we'll talk about some development. Friday, we're going to get creative. Saturday, Sunday, we do whatever we want to do. You know, we have a good time. So who's really gone more? You know what I mean? Like I'm at the house. At the house. And this is important because I can hear someone listening to this right now saying, well, is he present? Is he always on? I'm absolutely on. Like I'm on family time. When I'm on family time, I'll leave my phone. We'll go eat. We'll go out. I'll leave my phone at the house. Like I'm able to be very present. And now I work really hard for that. Like meditation, dopamine detoxes. Like I stare at white walls. I tell people all the time, like I will sit in a room, put a chair up to the wall and stare at that wall to retrain my brain to not think that it needs to scroll, swipe, like look up something. I'm training my brain to ground itself. Okay, come back. We're good. You know, I spend a lot of time in the gym. I'm sweating. I'm hydrating. I'm walking, and I've learned the correlation between walking and the way that we think. So I'm doing all the work. I also got a therapist and a master coach. Beautiful. So like all of those things are at work. The question is, are you in agreement? If Joanna doesn't agree with what I'm doing, now we got a problem. If my kids don't agree with it, now we got a problem. Right. Now, I don't need nobody else to agree. I don't care. It doesn't matter. As long as my people understand. So my kids actually, they're just learning. My oldest is 9. She's just learning that this ain't normal. Right. which is dope because her normal is, oh yeah, my dad, he's always at home, but then he goes on these sprints. I call
Mm-hmm.
them sprints.
Mm-hmm.
He goes out, he sprints. He's in Tampa and he's in New Jersey and he's in, whatever, and then he's back home.
Right.
And then we have the time of our lives when he's come back. So that's how I move. It's very strategic,
Amazing.
but the most important thing is the agreement. And when you and I got a contract,
Come on.
we ain't worried about someone else's opinion
Mm-mm.
about the contract. We got some on paper. So
Exactly.
for me, with my kids, with my wife, we got a contract. What can anybody say?
Man, that's beautiful, bro. I think you really hit the nail in the head with that one. That's so many people think that, it's got to be consumable for everyone when it's their own lives. And that's what I think, just hearing your story from, since I met you, right? Being afraid to see a vert route, to, all the companies that you started, just growing professionally, spiritually, whatever, together. Now, I think what I really want to touch on is, okay, you're doing all these things, you're successful, it's flowing. A lot of people don't have the sort of guidance that, yourself and I, my dad isn't a Hall of Famer, but my dad's a Hall of Fame dad, right? Like, he's a
Oh
lawyer,
yeah, I love
CPA,
reading your posts about your dad,
super
man. So
successful,
good.
Chief's great. If you're giving someone advice in college, right? Keep it short to them, give them a minute. They're trying to figure out what they want to do. They might not have that reserve of courage, education, awareness, familiarity. How are you coaching them to help them be successful in the same way you're now successful? Because I think and the reason I say this, and I think you more than maybe any guest I've had thus far, you epitomize what a lot of athletes say they want, right? Post ball, right? Man, I want to have a beautiful big family. I want to be able to make my own schedule. I want to be healthy.
Yeah.
Talk to that senior athlete. Let him or her know, what is it that they should be mindful of to get that.
I think I said this on social media the other day. Presence, discipline. Presence, discipline. With those two things, you can do anything. When anywhere you are, be there. If you're in this podcast right now, this is the only thing that matters right now. Everything else is shut off. I don't even know anything else. It's the tunnel vision that we had when playing ball. I am fully here because I need to extract everything out of this moment for the next moment, and for my life, right? And I also need to give. I need to be obedient and give whatever I'm supposed to give in this moment right now, right? So the presence is major. The discipline is what happens after this moment. Like, this is a very inspiring moment. Like, you and I, we go from the film room to like fast forward, and we're watching each other. It's a lot like we have the professional relationship version of what I had with Marcus Van Dyke of the playing and following you all year. Right. So with way more like intentionality and like getting to see what each other doing. So it starts with presence. Be present in practice, be present in film study, be present in conversations, seize every moment, for what it is, and show up and be obedient to the moment. Surrender yourself, all the stuff that you got going on in your life. Just be here right now. Then the discipline is, how do you take whatever you got from that present moment and then add that to the next thing? Now, what I would say, like on the quick, like real quick, let me give them two things that will change their life. Number one, relationships are everything. Everything. You who you hang with. Our moms, our dads, grandma, everybody said this, and we didn't listen. Hey, you are who you hang out with. Like, birds of a feather flock together. And man, I'm seeing it now. Like, I all the cats that I rock with, Calvin, my boy Eugene Monroe, who's also a retired player. Like, all of my boys, we all move the same. Now, some of us might be married, some of us might be single, some of us might live in the DR, some of us might live in America, whatever, but we're moving in the same way. So you have to make sure that you find your people, and don't just stick with people because that's your cousin. He been with me from the beginning. Oh, that's my day one. Man, forget all that. It's not about day one. It's about today, this present moment. Who do you need to be in alignment with? So relationships is everything, and don't lose everything based on a relationship. Like, you got to be very mindful of who you bring in your circle And if they're in your circle, now we go to another level. So now it's intentionality, it's communication, it's all the cats that I do business with. We also talk about heavy life stuff. I'm traveling with Calvin, to Tampa 2 weeks ago. And the whole flight, we're talking, and then in the hotel room, we're talking about like mindset and why procrastination happens, and then we're talking about relationships, and we're having these deep conversations, and then we flip it and go, okay, we got to get ready for this meeting tomorrow. All right, let's do So that's it's like wide receivers. They say it's all got to come together. Right. You got to turn the head while pumping the shoulders, while stopping the feet. It all happens at the same time, not turn my head, then feet, then like it doesn't work like that. So relationships, that is so important. I'm not as much of a networker as I am an intentional person about connecting to an individual. See, a networker, if you know a real networker, they're going to introduce you to 5 duds, and then you're going to meet one good person. Like, because a networker, they like, man, it's constantly happening. I'm going to introduce you to this person. Oh, you might know this person. Oh, but I'm intentional. Like, I came here to meet one person tonight. Right. Like, I'm going to meet one person and I'm going to make a connection, or, hey, I'm looking through LinkedIn for this one specific type person or whatever. So relationships is everything. And then I'll say on the other thing, oh man, this goes back to discipline, self-control. Like if you're going to go out and you want to party, just remember that you're representing the organization that you're either building or working for. Just remember you're representing the next opportunity that you might potentially get. You're representing your family, what you come from. You're representing so many things. And so you have to be very, very, I watch how LeBron moves and I'm so inspired. Oh. Like LeBron's like, you ain't even around over here. Like I was watching The Shop, and he was like, someone tried to crash his wedding, and he was like, they literally all could sniff out that this person wasn't supposed to be there. Right. Like, you got a solid team of people. If all they had to do was see somebody acting or talking a certain way, and they're like, he's not of a, I don't think he ain't supposed to be here. Like, that's the level. So for me, like that intentionality, that consistency, that self-discipline, self-regulation, like I work really hard. I us, man, we're in business. We see a lot of BS. We get mistreated sometimes. People say little sly things. And I have to every time be like, okay, do I need to speak to this? Like, do I need to mediate that? Right. Do I need to let that go? And how am I going to operate around, this specific issue? So that self-control, self-regulation, man, is important. But I promise you, relationships is everything.
I love it. JG, man, I'm so excited about this one, man. I'm super bucked up. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you taking the time.
No doubt. No doubt.
People want to reach out to you. People want to engage with you. No pun intended. What's the best way for people to find you, connect with you?
LinkedIn is my, like, that's my regular phone book. Right. I'm always on LinkedIn. I'm always communicating. I actually stopped putting as much content out because I'm getting ready to really drop some stuff. So it's coming soon. LinkedIn is probably the best way to find me. I'm also on social media, but the social media thing is more for fun. I want you to I want you to be introduced to the person that I am. So just be Jared. I'm actually I'm actually dropping a book. I just wrote it. It's almost finished being edited. It's called Be. And the purpose of the book is for us to experience the power of who we are as individuals, and to allow that to be our operating system. Right. Because a lot of people they're an iPhone with an Android operating system. Like, I'm Jared, but I'm trying to have Micah's operating system. So it won't work on your hardware. It doesn't work. So the book is all about being who you are. My dad would always say, hey man, just be Jared. If you're Jared, I know you're going to be straight. Don't be Daryl. Don't be Daryl. Don't be this person. Don't be that. Yeah. Just be Jared. And that's got me to where I am today. I'm the same way everywhere. I don't code switch. I don't, try to appease anybody. I'm not trying to win nobody over. Like, I'm me. And look, this water bottle was sitting in a pack of 6 water bottles over there. And I grabbed this one because it was just the right one. Right. And if I didn't grab the other ones, and there's nothing personal with the other ones. So when I go places, this water bottle didn't have to disguise itself as a Coke bottle or a Gatorade bottle for me to grab it. I just grabbed what was right for me at the time.
Fair.
And if we take that approach in life and in business, the right customers or the right friends or the right relationships or the right woman or man, they're going to find us. So just be you, because what's going to happen is if you're not you, they're going to grab it and they're going to grab it and say, man, I want some water. They're going to drink it and say, whoa, hold on. Why is there Coke in there? And that's what happens. People get in big, relationship issues. They get in breakups. Why? Because they were not who we thought they were. They looked at you. Hey, bro, you know how many cats we played with that looked like they was going to be a baller. And then you're like, whoa, where did that, you know what I mean? And now we're older. We might go play basketball and the cat with the armband and the knee thing. And it's like, man, that dude probably about to be crazy. He's about to be like that dude and trash. Like, so life is about being you. This chair that I'm sitting in was designed to be the chair that it is. And we chose it so we could sit on it. This microphone, everything is specific to, what its purpose is. And I tell people all the time, your purpose isn't for you.
Right.
Your purpose is for the world. So a chair's purpose isn't to be a chair. A chair's purpose is for someone to be sat on. If no one's sitting on it, it's not operating in its purpose, but it still has purpose. So for me, I'm going to look, now we done turned this into a whole session. For me, I am Jared, and my purpose is to transform individuals' lives so that they could be a part of something bigger than themselves and experience the fulfillment of purpose while aligning with an organization, with a loved one, with this and that. That's my goal. So I'm not going to be anybody else, because if I'm someone else, you're going to get a different outcome than what I'm designed to be, And so that's the book. Dropping that soon. Go on LinkedIn or Just Be Jared, and then you'll get first dibs on the book. And yeah, man, this is a big year for me. I'm turning 35.
Come on.
So this
you're ready to join the club.
Man, this is that year, and I'm excited to capitalize on some things that scare me. That's what I'm on this year. Like, I literally write to myself, like when I'm journaling, what scares you? Come on. And then I'm like, man,
let's go get it.
Going for a $50 million contract.
Come on.
Okay. That's what we're going for.
Why not?
Like, keynoting at the biggest, function. Okay. That's what we're going for.
Let's do
Dropping a book, and you never dropped a book before. You didn't have any ghostwriters. You wrote it all yourself on your iPad.
Talk that.
Like that's all of these things are what I'm super excited about. And one part of it is helping people with whatever I'm giving to them. But the other part is helping people see that they can do it. And I hope that they're going to see more businesses. I'm going to see more businesses, more books, more workshops from other people because they saw or heard what I'm doing.
I love it.
That's the goal.
I love it. JG, man, I can't say enough about you, man.
Likewise.
This interview is amazing. I can't wait for people to see it. I don't even know where else to take it. There ain't nothing. This is one of those ones I have to just be quiet, man, and let you work, let you cook, man. I appreciate you, brother. We got to have you back on.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend, man. Bless. Love you. You already know what
love
it is.
Too, bro.
We'll see you soon. Signing out. Jared Green, man. Thank you, brother.
All love.